All right, so we work with a lot of runners and we want to keep runners running. If I've learned anything as a physical therapist, is if I tell runners to stop running, they'll completely ignore me and just keep running. So I've realized that when people love what they do for exercise or movement, it's way better to figure out, okay, what is the amount that someone is doing and how can we change the overall amount or volume or stress or load, insert any of those phrases there, to help them continue and actually see and visualize that. So when we take it to that context, as a physical therapist, I don't want to either say you should run or shouldn't run. In very few rare instances is that the case. But usually it is, how much are you doing? What is the intensity? Can you actually be able to visualize what work your body is going through? And so what we realized here at Recharge is we didn't have a great way to help runners conceptualize that. So when we talk about load or how much the body can tolerate, we realize just going by mileage or just by amount of time ran is not the most effective way to do that without understanding what the body goes through during that. So two visualizations are going to help us here to understand from a physical therapy perspective how we can best help you get you back on track to running. It might be asking you to cut back slightly, but it will usually rarely, if ever, be cut it off completely. So the first one is understanding the amount of weight that actually goes through the body when you are actually running, right? In that case, what we're looking at is understanding that when you take a step or you hop or you run, right, like this, there's an increase of times your body weight going through in terms of forces of your body. What I mean by that is if you hop on one leg, it's your body weight plus some additional amount of force that goes through your ankle, knee, and hip. They've done a great deal of research and studies on this to show that generally your ankle joint takes on way more force and stress than your knee joint, which takes on more force and stress than your hip joint. Altogether, though, they've shown that when you're running, upwards of 2 times plus your body weight can go through each of those joints and through the leg as a total. So when we think of running as being way less stressful than other stuff, what we're actually saying is it's a lot of stress continuously. Now, why does that not lead to more injuries? If there's that much force going through your overall body, why is that not the case? Well, before I show you how much that is, imagine a ball that you have here, as we kind of come down. Now, our bodies are unique and awesome in terms of running and jumping, that there's some level of elasticity there. So as a ball drops, right, and it goes through, eventually it loses the ability to pop back up. Now, luckily, we are not passive balls, but very active, unique human beings. So when we drop or hop or run, we get to put force back into the ground, actually continue that upwards, right? So instead of limiting ourselves by losing that force all the time, it requires us to put more force to the ground to be sort of springy from that, which is a really cool idea. And it translates a lot to what we push on the runners, which is strength training. The better you can be at attenuating and putting force through the ground as you're hopping or running, usually the better your body's gonna be at tolerating those things. So that's what we work out, is helping people visualize and conceptualize what amount of force are you going through when you go on a 5-mile run, and how can that translate to strength training exercises that can benefit you. So now as we go back up to the barbell and visualize that, what I want to consider is myself as an example. So I weigh about 160, 170 pounds. So what is on the barbell here is actually 255 pounds. So, right, it's about 1.5 times my body weight. So this is probably on the smaller end scale of the total amount of force that goes through your entire body as you're doing plyometric, running, hopping, etc., movements as you're going through. So when I take this out, what I want a runner or someone to be able to do is to take this weight and stand on one leg with it and march back and forth, right? That's the goal as they come through that to be able to do. Now, me putting 255 pounds on your back and asking you to march is not a probably smart way to begin training. It just conceptualizes how much force is going through our legs. Where we usually start with people is much more simple. Can you hold 20-pound dumbbells in your hands and march with it, right? And hold a single leg position, right? Can you do a mini squat and holding a weight and hold that position and own it? Can you do a step up with some amount of weight? For most of my runners that we work with and our overall philosophy at Recharge, it is to get people to keep it simple in terms of helping your body improve its tolerance to this amount of force that goes through with every step, knowing that most of our strength training is to build that tolerance, not necessarily improve performance. We know you will get better at running the more you run. The better you run, the more you work at the skill of running. What we want to help you do is improve your tolerance to that running and the longevity of your running. And that can go a really long way in the course of your running career if we add in a small amount of strengthening exercise. This is a massive amount of weight in terms of that. I would never expect a runner to immediately put that on their back and start marching. But I do expect runners to be able to march with some amount of weights in terms of each in their hands, or amount of squats or deadlifting or along those lines. So let's simplify things. Let's go back to the basics and say, how do we conceptualize and visualize the amount of load and stress going through the body when running, right? It's way more than we give it credit for. 1.5 times our body weight or more at minimum that goes through that. And then how do we conceptualize and visualize a simple approach moving forward? And that's look at strength training as building tolerance for runners to allow them to do what they want to do. And that simplicity can be found in marching, can be found in standing with weight. There's a bunch of ways that we can do that doesn't try to make things more difficult than they need to be. So conceptualize and visualize the amount of work or load or stress going through your body. Then let's work together to create a plan of strength training to tolerate that better. So if you have any more questions or want to subscribe to us on our YouTube channel or see more videos like this for strength training for runners, please click the link below or look to our YouTube channel or reach out to us at rechargexfit.com or shoot an email our way or any other place that you can find us.